At Community First Credit Union, there's a lot to see. We build customized financial solutions so you can enjoy the life you want. We make it comfortable to have a conversation about what's important to you, like helping you stay on course to reach your savings goal. And what's important to us all, like helping to support causes that count. See for yourself what See First can do for you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frightfully Good Stories with Anne and Renata on the Spirit Realm Network this Thursday evening for you guys and Friday morning for us. It's just after 11 a.m. here in Australia. My name is Anne Rekovich. I'm a paranormal investigator and researcher, paranormal enthusiast, and I'm going to add this to the repertoire. I've got to remember what it is. You go. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Renata Daniel from Newcastle Ghost Tours and also part of Frightfully Good, Anne and Renata. Otherwise, it'd just be Anne. And that's not going to happen.
I'm okay with that.
And I am a paranormal researcher, ghost hunter, whatever you like to call it, psychic, tarot card, intuitive, spiritual life coach. I'm a podcaster on True Hauntings podcast. I'm a radio show host with Anne on Spooky Sundays on Newcastle Live Radio, and in between time I try and sleep.
Try being the operative word. And I'm all those things with her except for the tarot reader type thing. And I'm adding, I've got to get scientific exorcist.
What? Have you got a certificate for that?
I don't.
Sorry, if there's no certificate, it never happened.
All right, so what is a scientific exorcist?
You tell me.
Or what is an exorcist?
What would a scientific exorcist be?
Everyone,
pop into the comments what you think a scientific exorcist is, because we've had to do one this week, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We had to do one this week.
Yep, exactly. What is a scientific exorcist? Write it in the comments. Let me know. Hi, Johnny. Hi, Charm. I can't believe you guys have all come back for more. Hi, Kathleen and Joe, Zena.
And excuse me for being on my phone. I'm just sharing madly.
Well, this is right. So what is the difference between a religious exorcist and a scientific esthetist? We're a little tired. It's been a big week. What do you mean just a bus mechanic? I think that's freaking awesome. You put me near a bus and I can guarantee that I would make it come to a total standstill and kill it. So there is a big announcement here for the Spirit Realm Network as well. As of next year, they will be moving across to the web address, and I do have it here. Just let me get that up so I make sure I get it right. It is spiritrealm.net. So they're going to be coming off Facebook, and you will have to watch live at spiritrealm.net. At the moment, we are streaming to there now, so if you want to go and join over there now, you can. Oh, and who have we got here? Hi, Savage Line. Welcome, new here. I am loving your guys' podcast. Oh, wow.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Savage Line, which one are you up to?
Number
Only 7
7.
episodes in, though. We do have a new one out today.
We get naughtier. Just be prepared. It gets much worse.
We find our zone of genius, and it does get worse.
Her wheeze is becoming legendary. We know that we've hit our KPI when we get Renata's wheeze out. And nobody's willing to have a crack at what a scientific exorcist is. How interesting. All right. So, where did we hear it?
I don't know. You're the one telling the story.
No, it's in my research because I finally finished the parapsychology course I've been doing with the University of Edinburgh. My brain has fried and is dribbling out my ears with the amount of information I've received. And they mentioned a scientific exorcist. And what that is when you go to someone's house and they're claiming they've got demons or ghosts or whatever is going on, the role of the investigator is to either prove or disprove that there are entities there and to give them solutions to their problems. Now, a lot of ghost hunters will just go in and go, oh, yes, you've got a demon, you've got a ghost, thanks for the experience, bye, and leave. They don't actually offer any alternates or problem solvings or anything like that. And the role of an exorcist would then go in with spiritual beliefs and remove the entity or the demon or whatever may be there based on their religious belief. A scientific exorcist will take the knowledge they have of science and go into the house to try to show that whatever is going on within the house is scientifically explainable, and then use science and the knowledge of how the human brain works to remove the entity or the issue or the problem, because it's very rarely is it a dead person or a demon that's causing the problem. It is normally the people themselves that live within the house. So
shock, horror. You've just blown apart the paranormal world.
I know, the TV series are all going to fold up now.
Yep, absolutely. They're going to come after you with switchblades, knives, and forks, and
spoons.
How dare you say all of that?
True, Kai, true. So that is what a scientific exorcist is, because they are removing the same issue, but instead of using faith and spirituality, they are using science.
Now, the big question here is, what do you guys think would happen if you had a phone call that someone was experiencing something extraordinarily paranormal? Things are flying in the house, things are moving around, they're hearing footsteps, there are big bangs going on, whatever. They've done research to say that Barbara. They believe that it is a poltergeist that they have in the house. They want this poltergeist removed. They want you to come in and say to them, yes, there is definitely something going on. But you turn up and you go, well, maybe not. Maybe let's have a look at what is going on in your life and what crisis is happening at the moment, what's been going on. So you're actually shifting the conversation from this entity that is there to something very personal and something that may have the suggestion of there could be something actually that has an association with you. Now, if you go into a house where someone presumes there is a poltergeist and you tell them there is no poltergeist there, what happens to that person? Do you think that they are likely to go, oh, yeah, you're right, or they're pretty crap, they didn't find the poltergeist that I have, I'm going to call somebody else? What do you think happens? What happens? What do you think, people? So Johnny says, it may be a cry for help or attention. Yep. Yes. Good one.
And Karen, thank you very much. So if you are currently watching on YouTube, if you could make sure you give that video a thumbs up, that would be very much appreciated, because that then will allow the algorithm to put our video out for other people to watch as well.
Celtic Dragon says, get rid of the hormonal teenager.
Interesting, there was no teenager in the case yesterday.
Johnny says they will find someone else. Yes, often that is exactly what happens. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Robert. Our Grand Poobah Patreon High King of all.
Yes, Johnny, that is sometimes the sad thing, that they will find somebody else who will prove what they believe.
And that's called confirmation bias. They are looking for someone to confirm what they've already made their mind up about. They already know what's going on. They just want to get someone else to come in and say, yes, you're right. And they will keep going through teams until they find the person who just watches ghost hunting TV as their education and will go, oh, yes, you've definitely got demons.
Now, we put up something.
I do like that too.
Is it the Dunning-Kruger Effect?
The Dunning-Kruger Effect.
The Dunning-Kruger Effect. Please look that up if you're not quite sure what that might be. But it is, yeah.
I can tell people if you want me to tell them.
Yes, absolutely.
It's where people, and this happens a lot in ghost hunting, but not only in ghost hunting, believe they have a level of knowledge that is expertise level, and they will speak from a place of being experts without actually having the knowledge, but they feel confident that they have the knowledge. They've watched every ghost hunting TV show, or they've watched every episode of crime scene investigation, and they can solve all the problems of the world if only people would let them have a crack at being an investigator or whatever. And in actual fact, they don't have the knowledge. And I, to a certain extent, felt that way when I started this course with the University of Edinburgh. I felt I had a good deal of knowledge. I wouldn't have called myself an expert, but then I started this course and I realized how far down the bottom of that ladder I really was with the amount of knowledge that is out there. So Dunning-Kruger Effect, it's called, where people believe they have expertise knowledge and in actual fact they don't. So you've got to be careful of people who claim they are experts. Always ask, where did you do your training? How did you learn your knowledge?
Yes, Karen, that is dangerous, not just in ghost hunting.
Hi, Geeta.
Absolutely.
And this is true, Johnny. No one wants to admit that they don't know what they're doing. It's fake it till you make it sort of thing. And there was a couple of times when I first started out that I'm a ghost hunter, I know what I'm doing, and then I'd get into a situation where somebody cried for help and I've gone, I don't really know what I'm doing. This is terrifying.
Can you just add Dunning-Kruger Effect
sure.
for online for people so that they can check it?
What did I just do? I did something I shouldn't.
The thing about all of this, as you will find as you go into this more, and if you are into study and research and you like to read more about stuff, is that a lot of
I think that's how you spell it.
There is a lot of psychology that is associated with paranormal investigation. And everyone that sort of dives into that zone of going into somebody's home and being able to give advice should have some sort of a background in psychology, or at least learn the basics about how the human mind works, and learn a little bit about parapsychology, because that is a huge part of what we do. Our emotional state, our emotional status has such a great effect on our environment, whether it's positive or negative. And we really need to know very in-depth ideas, questions, and answers when it comes to going in and doing some investigations. Because it's not so simple to go in and just wave a magic wand and go, everything that is happening in your house is paranormal. It is to an effect, because it is not a normal thing that is going on. So therefore it does make it paranormal, but it doesn't come from the realm of ghost spirits and entities. It actually comes from a psychological realm.
All right, so Kendra has put an interesting thing here for us. I grew up in a house that has spirit and energy. I caught the woman from my dreams' voice and her in video and pictures. Other people have seen this, so am I crazy or begging for attention? I'm just curious. I've dreamed about the house and woman since a child, and I've seen a man in the home too. If you've caught them on video and you've got evidence of EVP or the disembodied voices, then you're not crazy.
And people aren't crazy when they say these things. These things are specifically happening to them. This is their reality. But we have to dig into that reality and have a look of how that can be something that can be turned around to be beneficial in some way, or changed in a way where you can understand exactly what is going on
Why
and
are
come to
they
terms with it.
The reason you've got to ask is why are they there?
Yeah.
Is it residual? Is it something that's just an imprint on the house? That's like when you move into a house where somebody has smoked for years, and even though they've put fresh paint and new carpet down, you can still smell the smoke. So it's an imprint on the house, and that can happen with individuals as well. Or is what's happening within that house actually you and your ability with psychokinesis or psychokinetic energy, and you yourself have imprinted those voices on the tape or the camera. But if other people are seeing it too, then there's more of a possibility that it truly is an entity. Or once again, is it your psychokinetic ability that is imprinting that and sending it to them telepathically?
Or
it's a ghost.
because it is a dream. It is, and I know you say there's videos and pictures, awesome, but because it is a dream, it can be enmeshed into your DNA, and you're actually picking it up from someone else who has had an experience within the family that has been so traumatic that it has left an energetic imprint which has been passed on from one generation to another. And this can often happen in great trauma with people who have lived through wars and then have children, and children have nightmares and associations with things that are quite horrific. They don't know where that's come from, but it has been such an emotional trauma to a parent that it has actually changed their makeup. It's changed something within them, and this energy has carried through and carried on.
Good heavens, we're almost 20 minutes in, and we've
started yet.
We've hit a fabulous topic, so it's sort of like we'll keep going. Yes, she's always been learning more. Maxine's been told that she's an open channel, but people class me as a devil's child. I would say they're not their friends and tell them to bugger off. They're not your friends.
I think that's because she's naughty.
Are you naughty?
She's naughty, aren't you, Maxine?
She's cheeky. All right.
Now, the one thing that we do, and it is an awesome thing that we can do it, and that's because we run a business and we do take financial gain from that business, is that we spend that money in reinvesting within ourselves and continue to learn. So as we mentioned before we came on, bookshops and books and buying books are a tragic addiction of all of this process. And there is probably never a week where some book or some magazine or some piece of information hasn't been given to us, or we haven't purchased it and shared it, and we're just continually trying to learn and evolve as this process goes on. So most important thing is that when new pieces of information come to you, stay open to them and try not to look at them through a biased lens where the way you thought about things 10 years ago is the same way you think about things now, or it's a rehash of what somebody else has written in a book that was written a long, long time ago. Do your own research and do your own investigations and observations to allow you to sort of have a thought that is your very own in regard to all of this. And it may be very, very different to everybody else's, and you may not want to share it, and that is okay. But we have to stay malleable in this particular subject. Otherwise, there is never going to be any progress, and we're going to be rehashing and saying the same old shit that we were saying 20 years ago. And that makes everything boring. that makes the field completely boring because no one is changing anything. They're all just saying it's all demons, it's all poltergeists, it's all fantastic and wonderful if you want to get your face on a screen and have a TV show. But in actual reality, in fact, we can be doing really good work to help and assist people move through and find out how awesome they truly are and how awesome this world is with all of these wonderful interactions and everything. But we stay in the same old shit and talk about the same old crap and nothing ever moves on. And I've got to shut up because I don't know where that came from.
Language warning, she's channeling. It's an Australian bogan. She's channeling.
Oh, boy.
You are welcome, Maxine. All right, shall we get on to today's presentation?
No, I'm having fun.
I know, me too, actually. Maybe next week we might not do an actual presentation.
Yeah,
we'll
the
just do a
Q&A.
Do a Q&A session next week. But in the meantime, we've actually got some stories, and I'm hoping this is still working because you know what happens with this thing.
Don't say the F word.
No, nobody say the F word because the stream goes down. Oh, it's working. Yay. So as somebody has already said on there, we are on Spotify and iTunes with our True Hauntings podcast. If you could take a moment to go over there and have a listen, I guarantee you, you will have a belly laugh. Just don't be driving a car when you're doing it because you may crash. Right. Yes, did someone leave the bogan gate open again? Robert. Release your inner bogan, says
Robert,
Kai.
you know I'm passionate about all of this stuff.
Yeah. And
it's
look,
just that we're passionate about it. This is our life. We do this 12 hours a day, honestly. We're doing it from the moment we wake up to well and truly most nights. So
except for the last 2 days where I had the grandkids. Yeah, and look, the reason why we're very passionate is because like the case that we had, when I spoke to them, they said, oh, we've got a poltergeist in the house and this and that and something else. And I said, how do you know you've got a poltergeist? I've done some research on the internet. I went,
and that's a great look. It's a great start. And one of the things that was mentioned was that they went through the list of things that are going on, and it seemed to fit. Now the problem is, do we make it fit?
I need to get rid of some of these. How
Do we make it fit, or will you not? Do we make it fit, or do we look at it from a framework of going, now I've got to really be, critical about what I've been hearing and what things are happening and what things are happening. And the thing is that this particular house was surrounded by a whole lot of others very close. So sometimes you hear things that you think are happening in your home, but they're actually not. They're happening next door or behind you. But with echoes that happen at night when it's a lot quieter, you think it's happening right next to you. Anyway, let's
all right. Just very quickly, we had some comments there, and it just disappeared. Where'd it go? What got you involved in this?
It's one of those stories, I think, for me, and I've got to say this now, where I haven't had any pills yet. Where the paranormal,
coffee.
I didn't choose the paranormal. The paranormal chose me. I've got to say that.
You know what?
Because there is no way. I have tried to disengage from this many times, and it just makes me even more into it. So this is just going to be it for the rest of my life, which I am so pleasantly happy and joyous about. I don't want to go anywhere else. This is where I want to be.
For me, curiosity. I had experiences as a child. All through school, people talk about ghosts and the kids would be talking about doing seances and stuff. And I just had this massive curiosity and respect. And like even over the last couple of years, I've been to some of the big physical medium seances where they have ectoplasm and trumpets flying around and beings that are walking around the room. And I sit there rather than go, oh my God, this is amazing. I sit there with this critical mind going, okay, well, I'm seeing this and I'm witnessing this. How is this happening? And I've just got this analytical mind that needs to understand.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think, oh, this person's faking it, but my brain immediately goes into how could this be fake?
Yeah, it's called curiosity. And if we all come to this with a curious mind, that allows us to ask questions rather than just sit with a statement or what is happening and going, okay, that's it. Let's get curious about this stuff and let's go, well, what if this is happening instead or that's happening instead?
Audrey said, how's it going over there with COVID? Oh, yeah, we've got the new variant. There's only about 12 people in Australia with it, I think. We've got high ratings of vaccinations over here. We're almost at 90% for the whole of Australia. They're just waiting to make sure that, because the Omicron variant is apparently not as horrible as the original one. So they're just waiting to make sure that what our boosters, our shots that we've got are going to cover it. I'm due for my booster in January. That will be my 3rd shot. I'm still here. Nothing's sticking to me magnetically. Thank you, Maxine. Seems we're going to a Q&A session this week. Can you see a poltergeist like you can see shadow people, or you just feel their energy? Definition of a poltergeist,
yeah,
I think.
Poltergeist is a German word and it just means noisy ghost, and that is a category. They try to categorize it because we love categories. As people, we love to put things in little boxes and say, this is it.
Jo's all over it. She's already got the poltergeist means noisy spirit.
Awesome. And you will see the energy that is released, which creates a poltergeist effect. So a poltergeist isn't a name for a ghost. It is a name for what happens during a experience. Yeah, so this is a poltergeist experience rather than a poltergeist ghost. And normally it is the movement of some object or a release of energy, which could be sound as well. And that is sort of what you're getting. So when you say, can you see a poltergeist? No, you can see the energetic movement or whatever is created to create that experience or to have that experience happen. If there is a ghost, it's probably a different thing that is occurring as opposed to the poltergeist experience or event as well. So you've got two things going on, but the two aren't the same.
I like Robert, who said, it should be a Dr. Venkman Google somewhere where you can ask Dr. Venkman your paranormal questions.
There is. There is Professor Paranormal.
Oh, yes, Lloyd Albach.
Our wonderful Lloyd Albach, who does this
Hi,
about once a week or so, and you can actually go onto his page and ask him all the questions in the world. And I've listened to him week after week, and he is so delightful and beautiful. He answers the questions over and over again as if they've been asked for the very first time, which shows how professional he is.
Just don't ask him about the Warrens, because then he becomes a different person. He becomes possessed.
And it's called Professor Paranormal.
Yep. All right, let's get on to the show, shall we? Have we got enough time left? I think we do. Even if we get through some of it, that's okay. Let's go to...
Okay, so we're looking at Picton today. Picton is, or has been claimed to be, the most haunted town in Australia. Oops. And here is a small map of where the area that I'm talking about is. It is down from Sydney, so we're in Australia on the east coast. You have Sydney there, which is the capital, and a little bit further down south, you will find Picton. It's probably it's 95 kilometres from Sydney, or just over an hour's drive. And there's your little sign, welcome to Picton. It was known originally as Stone Quarry. So every town has its ghost stories and haunted spots. Picton is a little different. This town has more apparent haunted areas than anywhere else I'd ever been. I usually seek these places out, but in Picton, they are unavoidable. Picton is the most haunted town in Australia. Well, you know, these things change
they
all
all
the
claim
time.
it. Johnny wanted to know, is the whole town haunted? Apparently, it's very, very, very haunted.
Yeah, not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. This isn't a self-proclaimed title either. Picton has earned this title. A ghost story sticks out in almost every corner of the township. And if you ask the oldies who live in Picton, they will have gorgeous stories to tell you. There will also be the same number of people who say it's a whole lot of rubbish. Don't talk about it, it's ridiculous. And so we have here a historical photo of an area in the township, the main street. So Europeans first explored the area in 1798, although legal settlement didn't occur until 1821, which is around the same time that Newcastle became a settlement too. So Governor Macquarie authorised the building of the new Great South Road between Sydney and the Southern Highlands. So that's going down. In 1819, this opened up the Picton area to new settlers. Further development occurred in 1863 when the railway arrived, and the town was originally called Stone Quarry, which I mentioned, up to 1841. The town was renamed Picton in 1845. Picton became an important shopping point along the Great South Road. This eventually became the Hume Highway, and then the town was bypassed in 1980 because of that highway. So it became more of a very sort of villagey type of place.
Johnny said, do people still live there? Yes, they do. And Seamus wants to know, did you two come to an agreement on how to deal with the subject of semen? As in SEAMEN, semen. Remember the podcast?
Oh dear.
Because we're two dirty old ladies, we couldn't say the word without giggling. You have to listen to the podcast, guys.
So stories of paranormal activity abound in the township of Picton, but the old Picton Tunnel, which is pictured here, and that's a true picture of a ghost. I captured that.
Oh, that's real.
Yes, that's real.
That's not doctored at all.
So this was built in 1867, originally known as the Red Bank Range Railway Tunnel. It seems to be the focus of activity. This tunnel was apparently used to store mustard gas spray tanks and ammunition during World War II, and it was also used as a mushroom farm and is still known today as the Mushroom Tunnel by locals. It's quite interesting how many old abandoned tunnels are actually used to grow mushrooms. Who would have thunk? Here is a historical photo. Look at that.
Adelaide would just like to say that you forgot to put the red hula hoop around the ghost.
I know. So here is like today's picture,
yeah,
or a modern day. And this is an old one. Isn't that awesome? So stories of suicide are linked with the tunnel, and the tragic railway accident of the woman named Emily Bollard appears to be the basis of a haunted reputation that is associated with this particular tunnel. So apparently the tunnel was still in use by the railway when Emily had been walking through it and was killed by an oncoming locomotive. It is unclear whether she deliberately committed suicide or if her death was just an unfortunate accident. The apparition of Emily has been seen in the depths of the tunnel. When she appears, it is as a white flowing figure of a woman with no face. Black shadows or figures have been seen on the walls throughout the tunnel, and some witnesses have reported white lights hovering above people's heads and figures appearing out of the darkness. And this story goes back to some of the earliest times when we started doing paranormal investigations here in Australia. And there was probably only one or two well-known sites on the internet associated with Australia that were talking about ghost stories or had collections of ghost stories. And I remember on this one, and I can't, the name of the site actually escapes me. It was one of the very first that became really popular in Australia. And this was one of the stories that they were talking about, the Picton Tunnel and the stories of alleged hauntings. So ghostly children have been witnessed and electrical disturbances have occurred to devices in the tunnel. People have also felt sudden drops of temperature. Now, a lot of that stuff is environmental and can be kind of put into the basket of it's just an environmental change. But because we're in a spooky area, because there have been a lot of tales about ghost stories, we're starting to associate things with the paranormal.
I'm just checking the website. Don't forget, guys, as of next year, we will, the Spirit Realm Network will be moving to the website, spiritrealm.net. There's all sorts of things over there you can watch. So don't forget that we will all be moving next year.
So one story once told by a friend details a ghost train that haunts the tunnel. The story goes that there is a man and his non-believing uncles that toured the now defunct tunnels, and there used to be tours, ghost tours, lots of ghost tours in Picton, but not anymore. And when they reached the tunnel, this particular man suddenly noticed a light in the distance. The sound of a steam train overwhelmed the tunnel. He said everyone, including the tour guide, screamed, "Get up against the walls." Remember, this tunnel had been inactive for almost 50 years at this time. And he claims he felt the wind on his face as he closed his eyes and the train passed. And this is a piece from a paper of a man found dead in the Picton Tunnel. And yeah, he says it's supposed that a train passed over him and his head, and one of his arms was discovered to have been severed from his body.
The girl, the spirit that they have seen in there, that weren't sure whether they committed suicide. We had a listener on Spooky Sundays who said that she was actually taking a shortcut to get home to her house, and she'd gone through the tunnel, so they didn't think it was suicide.
We've had a walk through this particular cemetery during the day, not at night time. Yeah, it is quite cool. And there's an interesting thing. You can actually download an app, and as you're walking through the cemetery, listen to the stories when you get to particular headstones, which is awesome. It's an awesome thing. So local houses surround St. Mark's Cemetery. During the day, this place is just like any other cemetery. At night, however, many people have reported paranormal sightings, the main one being of Blanche Moon, an 11-year-old who died in 1886 and who haunts the yard. Blanche was the daughter of Henry and Fanny Moon. Oh, we've got this name again. Her father was thought to have been the timber worker who may have helped make the railway sleepers. She fell off while playing with other children, the fall which led to her death. In January 2010, a family visiting Mark's Cemetery in Picton snapped a photo apparently showing the ghosts of two children who died almost 60 years apart. I'll show you this in a minute. The photo appeared in major newspapers across the country. The children were believed to be Blanche Moon and David Shaw, the son of a minister who died in 1946 from polio. The family claimed that there were no children at the cemetery at the time of the photo being taken, and that the figures of the two were only noticed when the picture was downloaded on their computer. Okay, let's have a look at that.
Right, what are we looking at?
We're looking at the two white zones at the back end. So it actually...
They're almost like a mirror image.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Is that the same photo twice?
So here and here. The first look at it says they do not look transparent at all. They look very solid. They look pretty identical, don't they?
Yes. Very suspiciously.
Pretty identical.
So when was this photo put up?
This was put up in 2010.
I feel an app coming on. It looks like a white school shirt with a child standing on its side like that. And it's exactly the same image twice. It's just one.
So what do you guys think of that one? What do you think? There's a little bit of a shoulder difference. So if you kind of look at the back of the neck and down the back, slight difference there, but we'll leave it at that, or we can go on forever. Razorback Inn on the left-hand side. Now, unfortunately, I've looked this place up. It no longer exists. It's now a cafe, which is just really poo because I really wanted to stay there. It's been the subject of many spooky stories and apparently the home of a noisy ghost. So poltergeist, a noisy ghost. Things would be moved around. I wonder, rather than the ghost being there, maybe it was the owner of the Razorback Inn.
Johnny had a good question on the last one. Was it taken with a phone or a camera?
Don't know. Don't have any more information about that photo. I was lucky to find that. Imperial Hotel, which is down below, which we can actually stay at still. This one's still available. Many staff report the feeling of someone following them through several parts of the building, and at times the jukebox begins to play even though it is not connected to power. Now, we had something similar to that in a place around an hour away from Newcastle, where we live, in a pub called the Bellbird Hotel, where we had not a jukebox, but a machine that has the toys with the grabber, that grabbing hand that comes down and picks the toys up. That was also unplugged from the wall, and we were sitting around in an area with that against a back wall, and all of a sudden all the lights came on it, and the music started to play for like 2 seconds, and we all turned around and went, oh, that's a little bit weird. And we were told that actually gets turned off. There was no power to it, so that was weird. Now, this is an obtrusive ad that we have placed in to encourage you to go onto our YouTube channel and watch our misadventures. And there is a reason why there are potatoes on that photo. And you'll have to go to that one and check out what we discovered in Robertson, New South Wales, when we went on one of our adventures most recently.
Johnny was saying that if it was a cell phone, there's apps. There's actually, you can do it with the normal camera as well. There are stock footage that you can insert into it. So what you need to do when you get a situation when somebody is claiming that as a ghost, you need to get the original file, either from the phone or from the camera, and have a look at it, because once they start to tamper with it, it will have a log of how it has been tampered with. So that would have been the first thing I would have called for with that. So Kai said, would that be a poltergeist experience?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. So yeah, thank you, Seamus. Seamus is shamelessly plugging our podcast.
Thank you, Seamus. Thank you so much.
All right. Oh, thank you, Johnny. Johnny watches our YouTube clips. I'm working on a bigger one because I'm not an editor. I'm not experienced in editing stuff, so I'm giving it a crack. And the problem is my husband has downloaded Ubuntu. Hang on, I'll just jump out of this. He's changed all our computers from Windows to Linux or Ubuntu or something like that. So we get programs that are similar but not quite the same. Drives me insane. He's a computer engineer. And I'm trying to learn how to edit. So if anyone knows a really nice, simple editing, film editing thing that uses Ubuntu or Linux, please let me know. And at the moment I'm using Canva, and it's pretty clunky, but it gets the job done. I can't sort of switch between things or fade music or do anything like that. So yeah. Anyway, meanwhile, back to this. I think we're on to our pareidolia now.
We are.
Oh,
so for anyone new to Crap or Cool Pareidolia, which is a segment that we decided to add onto this.
And we enjoy it so much, we just put it in every week. We were going to change it every week to different things, but what can I say? We like it.
So if you haven't heard about pareidolia before, it is something that you really need to add to your arsenal of knowledge when you're looking at paranormal stuff. And it is a tendency for perception to impose a meaningful interpretation on nebulous stimulus, usually visual, so that one sees an object pattern or meaning where there is none. So to kind of break that down into normal terminology, people go looking for faces in clouds, faces in timber, in garbage, in whatever, because our brain is trained to look for things in images that we can refer to in our memory banks. So one of the first things that we look and learn to recognize when after birth is the face of our mother and the face of those that are our carers. So this is our way of interpreting the world as being safe and secure. As long as we can recognize that face, we know we are safe and secure. And that is an inbuilt thing in us. And so we continue to find things in things where there shouldn't be things that we do. because that's the way our brains.
Even without red hula hoops.
Yeah, because that's the way our brains interpret stuff. So this is the first one, which is exactly what we were talking about.
Jesus in the clouds.
Yeah, or Abraham Lincoln, or whoever else was an old man with a beard. It's probably been tampered with a little bit, I'd say, just to make it look even better. But that's where you get sort of the understanding of faces in clouds.
Oh, please excuse the yawning on my behalf. Shall we do the next one?
Yep.
Oh,
Now, these are the things we normally get. Isn't
Gosh.
that right? Put your hand up if you are a paranormal investigator. And this is the type of thing that you normally get. You normally get a blurry photograph or an enlarged photograph, which this is, both blurry and enlarged, and a darkened space. And there is something nebulous, so something that doesn't have structure, but may have light and dark, that is somewhere in the photo, and people see things in that. Now, that's not to take away from the fact that people might see things and they might feel some association with that picture. And yeah, look, for them, that might be some sort of spirit entity that is haunting that particular doorway. But in most cases, it is just our brains going, geez, that's dark. And I see a couple of lighter spots. Oh, can I see a face there? That's what's normally happening.
I said my hopes and dreams. Oh dear.
Yeah,
You guys crack me up.
Yeah, I love this next one. I found this and I thought this was gorgeous. Look at that.
Oh, that's a Labrador. Oh, that's so cute.
I know. Imagine slicing through that and seeing that and going, oh my God, there's a dog in the tree.
Oh,
Isn't that
and
good?
I found some really cool ones today too. Now this one is the Aurora Borealis near Alaska. Now I don't own any of these photos. I have used them from the internet. Apparently this one was taken by Dave Bacharach. But isn't that magnificent?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Wow.
People would see that as a sign.
Yeah.
This is something that they would say is a sign from spirit to them.
And it's something that they need to help them make a decision or move forward or something like that. So they will be looking, it's almost like they're looking to get permission to do what it is they want to do. And they will grab something and say, oh, that's my sign. So spirits told me to do it, instead of taking responsibility for the decision themselves. Where did that come from? Coffee.
See, my spirit is now channeling through
That's
you.
it.
It's okay. We share.
Yeah.
We share.
All right. So this next one, look at that.
It's that.
Don't say the word.
Right, it's a sprite.
Don't say the word. Now the original photo is the one on the left, and you can just see it off in the distance above that. What do you reckon? Is it the words that we shouldn't mention?
That's really
it's good, isn't it?
It's weird, isn't it? It doesn't it look like a feathered thing? Let's say it's a Mothman. It's the miniature Mothman.
Kai's saying the northern lights are also called spirit lights. Someone's a great artist with that dog drawing. It's a sign the sky is dirty. All right, so it's not actually a garden ornament. What it is a hummingbird, right? And they must have captured the photo just at that moment, because their wings, I've seen hummingbirds, are just amazing how fast their wings move. So it looks like a male F word floating above the home garden, but it is the wing tips or the tail tips of the feathers, and it'd be using to stabilize them, and their wings outspread, and you just can't see their beak because they're in shadow from that aspect. But what an amazing picture.
Absolutely.
Is
tremendous.
Is that cool or crap?
That's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And look, we normally only do 2 each, but I found this one. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this one. All right, so we can see there is to the top of the screen, there's a lady in a hat.
Oh, I see it now. Oh my
and
God,
then
that's
to
bad.
the left,
Yes, oh
there is
my
a
God.
man sitting down. But then we've got something in the middle there, and to this day, I still cannot get my brain to switch out.
Can you? Can't
I
you?
can't get it to
I
switch
can.
out.
I can.
All I
think.
can see is Jesus's head in between them.
Focus on the man on the left-hand side. Allow your eyes to go to the man on the
Yeah.
left-hand side, and your peripheral vision will change Jesus.
Oh, I can see Jesus.
Yeah.
I can't get rid of Jesus. So this is the face of Jesus, but in actual fact, it's the photo of a child with a bonnet.
Yep.
And the hair is actually the vegetation in the background.
Yep.
And this photo was taken in the late 19th century by an anonymous Swedish photographer.
Yeah, it does your head in. Can everyone see the child?
I can't switch it.
Do you want me to show you? So I'm standing up here. Here's the face.
Of what?
The child.
Right. Oh,
there's the
it
bonnet.
switched. It switched.
There's
I can see
hand.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the eye is actually the face of the child.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what goes across as the eyebrow is the front face of the.
It's the bonnet.
Bonnet. So the child is sitting on the man's lap.
Mm.
And beside them on the right, which is what looks like hair, is actually a bush.
Yeah, behind.
Yeah, Seamus couldn't get rid of Jesus as well. So, yeah, this is not paranormal. So if you are seeing faces and things in there, it is not paranormal. It is pareidolia. It is our brains making this stuff up. Now, we've only got 8 minutes left. So I don't know whether I should leave my presentation till next week.
Okay. Well, you can. Yeah. You can.
We had a question back up here from Audrey. I'll just see if I can get back up to Audrey's question. It was a long way back. Have you ever experienced any residual hauntings, and how do you know the difference between that and any other kind of haunting? Very good question, Audrey.
Do you want me to take that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So a residual haunting is an imprint. There is no ghost, again, associated with a residual haunting. What you are seeing, if it's visual, is an apparition. So you might be seeing a figure, but there is no intelligence behind that figure. It's not going to stop what it's doing and turn around and say hello. I can see you. It will carry on and do what it does, and it never changes what it does. So this is often what we hear if people are experiencing footsteps going down a hallway, and it seems to happen at the same time and in the same place and in the same way. So it is repetitive, and it never really breaks its pattern. It does its thing and then stops. So if you were to see this apparition and you decided you wanted to confront it and you stood in front of the apparition, it would literally keep going and walk straight through you without even thinking that you are there or stopping to notice you, because it is in a different space. It's like what they say about rewatching a movie scene, and you just press rewind, and what you're seeing is the same thing occurring. Nothing changes. It's the same thing. And if you press rewind again, you would see the same thing. So,
and you could stand there saying to the actors, "Hi, Mel Gibson, how are you? Great to see you." You could reach out and try to touch the image, but obviously your hand's going to go straight through it, and they won't turn around and look at you because it's just a recording.
There is no. It's something that occurred, and a piece of time that seems to be trapped, and however that is released back into the world, we don't know. There's no process that is an assurity of why this loop, as Robert calls it, comes back and manifests into our world. But we see it if we catch it in the same way every single time. So you're not interacting with a ghost.
And how do you tell the difference between a residual and an intelligent entity? You ask them to interact with you, and I mean, it could be an intelligent entity that just ignores you. But I would say, if you are here with me, could you make a noise? Could you touch that silver stick, which would be my REM pod? This is my silver stick. See? There it is there. Oh, it's a little bit bent. I would ask it to do something that shows that it has heard me and understands my voice. And that's how I personally would tell whether it was residual or intelligent haunting. And a lot of people seem to think that things being moved, bangs happening in the house, shadows means that you've got something evil and horrible in the house that is coming to get you. And in actual fact, it's very rare. Things being thrown, how often do people actually get hurt? Not often.
They get hurt running away from it.
Yeah.
And their emotional status is in crisis because they're experiencing something that it can be quite scary for them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is a negative energy. We're just experiencing
people
it
are
as something
scared of it,
different. Yeah.
so they immediately assume it's like when aliens come to Earth, let's just blow them up because they're probably going to try and take over the Earth instead of trying to find out whether they're here to help or hinder.
We come in peace.
We don't always assume that everything is out to kill us, but that's a very human thing. Can you communicate with spirits in a similar fashion to a medium? Not me personally. Yes.
Oh, yes, you can communicate with spirits right now. You can go, hello, is there anyone around that would like to speak to me? That's all a medium does. You might surprise yourself and you might find out that you have some abilities that you didn't even know you had by just trying it and being more focused and in the moment when you do it. So it's not like, are there any more spirits in the house, but there's a TV on and the radio's on and you're looking at your iPad at the same time. You must be totally in the moment and focused and open up that channel that allows you to make that communication.
And then there's also stone tape theory, as Joe's pointing out, Celtic Dragon. And that is essentially like how a videotape is capable of imprinting images and sound onto it as a physical medium, not as in medium, but physical item. Stone tape theory is that under some conditions, if the conditions are right and the material that the building made out of is that it actually imprints. Oh no! The camera just decided to drop out. There we are. We're back. Sorry, guys.
We've got about 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it is able to imprint the image into the actual stone of the location, like you can a videotape.
Yeah, Seamus.
Yeah, Seamus, they're all yours.
Right.
We'll just send them all to America and you guys can take care of it. Guys, this has been a real fun episode. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed what we've presented today. And I know we got a little bit off track, but I actually really enjoyed getting off track.
Yeah, and we'll kick it off with your subject next week, and then we might just leave it up to Q&A again.
Yeah, well, we'll do that. That's perfect. So thank you for joining us on Spirit Realm Network. Don't forget, they will be transferring to the web page, which is spiritrealm.net as of next year. We will be back this time next week to present some more and have some more chats. But in the meantime, you know what we say.
See you on the dark side, guys.
See you on the dark side. Don't forget to join our YouTube page and our Facebook community too. Bye.